Hammond City Council public hearing agenda, May 13th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Wells.
Present.
Councilman Divatario. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Andrews.
Present. Public hearing item number 1.
An ordinance to approve a request by Christopher Wells to rezone 1009 Mooney Avenue from RS-3 to RM-3. The property is located in District 3. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended denial to the one. Charles Barsha.
I just want to correct a housekeeping error that was in the original staff report that was presented on April 22nd. We had the vote call as 3-0 in recommending a denial. It was actually 2-1 recommending denial. The recommendation still stands. We've got an image. This is actually from the previous staff report where we had the maps attached. The updated staff report was attached to this agenda, but the maps were not, unfortunately. But this shows the property highlighted in red. And the zoning around it is primarily RS3, which is a residential zoning. That is the reason that the commissioners voted to deny the request. It would, in their opinion, result in spot zoning. So I'm just relaying their recommendation to the council.
Is there anyone from the public on this item?
From Wells, Mooney Avenue, here asking to have this property zoned to RM3 on behalf of Christopher Wells.
Anyone have any questions or concerns on this item?
Pretty standard that we ask what the plan is. Is there a plan for why the zoning change, or what's?
Right now, he's just wanting to get it rezoned. You don't really have what you don't really do with it right now.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, you can sit down, sir.
Tracy Wells. So if you look at the map, Hammond, Louisiana, if you look at the map, I'm not sure why it's considered spot zoning, because they have the same zoning prior to that, and what's not on the map is immediately north to that property is the MXC property. I'm not sure why that wasn't captured on there. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention as well.
Like outside of the picture, or like the north border?
Literally to the north of that property. You can't see it because this is what was presented, but there's MXC property on that corner of Mooney and Phoenix Square. So to orientate yourself, that's Phoenix Square across from Mooney Park, which is MXC, and then down from there, in between is a house, and then that's RM3, and then the one for the request is further down.
So you're saying that the park is MXC?
No, right
across
across
the
from the
street.
park.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Hammond City Council, excuse me, regular session agenda, May 13th, 2025, 5:34 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Present.
Councilman Leon. Present. Councilman Andrews.
Present. Stand by for prayer, please. Father, we come to you this evening just to tell you thank you. Thank you for allowing us another day's journey. Father God, we thank you just for who you are. Thank you for allowing your son to die in our place. Father God, I ask you to come right now to give us the peace that surpasseth all understanding. Your word declares that the step of a righteous man are ordered. So, Father God, we come right now just giving you glory and honor and praise that is due your name. We lift our city up before you right now, Father God. Continue to touch those that are in power right now, those that are in leadership right now. Father God, move in the hearts and minds of these your precious people. Your word declares that you can turn the heart of the king in any direction. So, Father God, we just thank you right now for your guidance and your direction. I ask that you can touch each council member right now and their families. Continue to bless the representatives, the districts in which they represent their neighborhoods, their constituents right now. Continue to cover our fire department. Continue to cover our police department. Continue to touch each employee of this city. Father, if there's ever time we need you right now. We need you to shine down upon us right now, Father, with the continuous grace and mercy. Father God, put us in a place right now where we will humble ourselves right now up under your mighty hand, where you will continue to lead us and guide us right now, Father God, where you would get all the glory, where you would get all the honor and all the praise. Father God, draw us together as one people, where one will not fall without the other, where we will be able to lean on each other, push each other, guide each other. Make this the city that that you desire for it to be, a city that could sit up on the hill that would shine so brightly where others will be able to see it and know that there's a God in that city doing great and mighty things. For that we give you glory, we give you honor, we give you praise, we give you all the thanks because it belongs to you. In your darling son's name, in Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. At this time, I ask that all veterans, active military, please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I ask for an approval of our April 22nd, 2025 minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells? Aye. Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Okay, final adoption of ordinance number 1.
Final adoption of an ordinance to approve a request by Christopher Wells to rezone 1009 Mooney Avenue from RS-3 to RM-3. The property is located in District 3. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended denial 2-1. Charles Barsha.
As previously stated, this was recommended denial 2-1. The feeling was it was spot zoning. I understand Ms. Wells came up and spoke about the MXC zoning, which is about 2 lots above where the RM3 is located. It's a corner lot. The surrounding properties, especially the adjacent properties, are RS3. Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, the way this ordinance is written, just as a housekeeping matter, a vote to approve the resolution would be to approve the rezoning. A vote to deny the resolution would be to deny the rezoning.
Yes.
Is there anyone else from the public on this item? Any other questions or concerns from anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
No.
And Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Introduction of ordinance number 1.
Introduction of an ordinance to adopt the City of Hammond's budget for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026, with a budget work session to follow on May 30th, 2025, and a public hearing to follow on June 10th, 2025. Charles Barsha.
Each of the council members should have received a physical copy of the proposed budget. We will be putting this online possibly as early as tomorrow. We're putting a PDF online so it's available to the public. Councilman Andrews had previously requested May 30th as the date for the work session, so we're scheduled that for May 30th. That is also a public hearing, so if any member of the public wants to attend, wants to ask questions, provide feedback, they are able to do that then. And then the next city council meeting after that would be June 10th. So that would be a second opportunity for the public to weigh in. The budget has to be adopted by June 24th, which is the final council meeting of this fiscal year, which seems like a long ways away, but it's rapidly approaching. The budget you have in front of you does assume that we will be approving increases to water and sewer utility fees. We've had some discussion about that over the past several meetings. We've also included the garbage collection fee increase. That's what gets us to those budget numbers that you see. The budget is pretty tight. Our revenues have remained more or less flat from last year. They're slightly up, but not significantly. So we're hoping that we can keep the budget within the numbers we've provided. There is an insert in each of your binders that shows the current water, sewer, and garbage collection fees and what is proposed based on the rate study that was performed late last year and current cost as of April for the garbage collection. And if there are any questions, I, the mayor, our finance director, Carolyn Howard, are all available to address those with you or members of the public as it becomes available online. This is just the introduction. All we're voting on here is to introduce so that we can start the public process.
Thank you, Charles. Anyone have any questions or concerns on this item?
Sal Nicolosi, 3607 Highway 190 West, Hammond, Louisiana. I'd like to know what the budget was in '24.
Are you talking about the current fiscal year? You want to know the,
I said 24 or 25, either one. What was y'all budget? What was the city budget for 24 through 25 then?
bear with me 1 second. So last fiscal year, our revenues were around 51 million and change. This fiscal year, we're projecting revenues around 56 million and change. In 2024, they were around 50 million. And expenditures, and this is with the beginning fund balance in each of those years. So in 2024-25 was 58 million. That was about the same in 24-25. I'm sorry, there's a typo here, but in the dates, but.
So you said it's going to be a little bit of an increase, is that correct?
Well, we're recommending spending of around 56 to keep us under or very close to our revenue projections. In previous years, we've used our beginning fund balance to offset expenditures. We're hoping not to have to do that this fiscal year. We're trying to go for a fully balanced budget.
Okay, thank you.
Charles, can you ask IT, and when you look on the website, there's the adopted budget for 23-24, and then it says proposed for 24-25. So if we could change from proposed to 25, adopted budget 24-25, and then stick on there the proposed for this coming fiscal year.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or concerns on this item? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Resolution number 1.
A resolution to authorize Hammond Downtown Development District to serve, sell, or otherwise handle alcohol at the following events: Hammond Live, June 13th, July 18th, and July 18th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Kate Square Park. Michelle Kendall.
Good evening, Council. Michelle Kendall, Director of the Downtown Development District. We've rebranded Picnic in the Park to be Hammond Live, which is our outdoor concert series, which will be taking place in Kate Square Park for the summer for those dates that you see listed. And we are requesting, we'll be serving, selling alcohol as one of the means to fundraise. So we are requesting permission to do so.
Andre, I have a question. With this in Kate Square Park, excuse me. Not only on this one, on number 1, number 3, and number 5, and number 7. With the word sale. Okay. All right. So my question is there a special permit that has to be given in order to do this? Because I know that you can't sell anything in the park.
Well, this is given authority for them to sell it.
And this is given special authority to serve, sell, or handle alcohol during this event at Kate Square Park. So this would override any other restriction you have.
Anyone else have any questions or concerns, anything on this item?
I just want to say, Michelle, thank you all for bringing this back. It's a very popular event every year. People are always asking for it, so you guys do a good job.
Sorry for the uncooperative 4-year-old as we have to do child care stuff today. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Any unreadiness?
Yeah, I have something to say. I think, and you help me out, Councilman Kip. We talking about selling. We had people to come before us before this here time. This had nothing to do with downtown, and they was told they couldn't sell nothing in the park.
I can't answer for that. Tell me, what's the event going to be? You guys going to sell alcohol at the event?
Yes.
Okay. And the person selling will have some kind of alcohol permit from?
We will have a special event permit from ATC, as we've obtained for all of our other special events to do so.
So you'll have a permit from the state and the city.
Yes, and we also submitted our park reservation form to the administration to reserve the park for the event.
No, I don't have a problem with it, but what I'm saying is, I know what Councilman Kip was talking about, because I'm talking about in the past, they tried to do it in Mooney Park, they tried to do it in Z-Mary Park, several people tried to do it, and they tried to do it at Martin Luther King Park, and they tried to do this, I'm gonna say, 3 years ago, and it never came before us. Like this always come up before us, so I know exactly what he's talking about. So I'm glad he brought it up, because this was taking place. We opening the door to sell alcohol in the park. That's the door that we done open. And so this ain't just took place. We done did it several times, but it wasn't never mentioned. So I just wanted to let it be known that from now on, if we say yes, and we've been saying yes to this, and we're gonna say yes to this tonight, let it be known for the record that we can't deny nobody now, because I'm talking about the same thing she said. They get the same permits, go through the same licenses, and have somebody qualified to sell, but they can't even sell hot dogs when it comes to trying to do events in our community. And so I just wanted to let it be known, this door been open, but it never was talked about. And so I'm glad it was mentioned tonight, so I have no problem with it. But I want the same door open for everybody that's trying to do an event in the park. Because Miss Birdie, be exact, Miss Birdie tried to do it. What's Miss Birdie Matthews? She tried to do this several years ago. And she couldn't even get to the door. She was denied and told, why you can't do this, why you can't do this. Then Quintasha Brown tried to do something 2 years ago in Z-Mary Park in the gym, and she was denied. And how I know, because these people call me and tell me about it, that's how I know about these things. So now it's on the record that the door is open for everybody. We just can't do this for downtown and don't do it for nobody else.
Same rules should be consistently applied.
Okay.
So who's selling it? Is the DDD selling it, or, okay, and who's actually gonna be serving it? The DDD is actually gonna have a bartender or something
Yeah.
selling the alcohol?
We will be selling it, our
Okay,
staff
okay.
and events committee. I understand, I guess, some discrepancies that have been observed in the use of parks and selling. All I can say is, for us, we're following the park reservation. That we did have some discussion about selling in parks on a separate side conversation. Charles, I don't know if you want to speak to that in this setting, but we are trying to follow the process as we understand it.
I will say this. I have stopped signing waivers for after dark, after 8 o'clock, for closing down streets and what have you. I don't think this is something that should be passed. I think you're right. I think if you're going to do it in one, you do it in all, and with the climate that we have, with what's going on in our country and our community, want to keep our community safe, and that's something we're constantly dealing with. I would not have a problem at all if you denied this liquor alcohol permit.
We'll state that we did change the event time to end at 8 p.m. with feedback from Chief Bergeron, and ending all of our downtown events at 8 p.m. versus 9 p.m.
So y'all are gonna have law enforcement and all that in the park?
We will have, Chief Bergeron has been notified of these dates, and we typically do work with them to have at least 1 or 2 security offers on site for security.
Okay. Yes, all right, thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right. Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Abstain.
Councilman Andrews?
Abstain.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Resolution number 2.
Resolution to grant a waiver of the City of Hammond's open container law to Hammond Downtown Development District at the following event: Hammond Live, June 13th, July 18th, 5 to 8 at K Square Park. Michelle.
Same as stated.
Anyone else from the public on this item? Any other questions or concerns from anyone from the council? Any unreadiness? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Abstain.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrew?
Abstain. Resolution number 3.
A resolution to authorize the Hammond Downtown Development to serve, sell, or otherwise handle alcohol for the following event: Pavilion Grand Opening, July 31st, from 3 to 8 p.m. at the Downtown Pavilion. Michelle?
Request to table this resolution and number 4.
Table.
Yes.
Okay. Make a mo-
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Can we do them both at the same time? Okay.
Councilman Wells?
Table it, huh? Oh, yes, aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Andrew?
Aye. Resolution number 4.
A resolution to grant a waiver of the City of Hammond's open container law to the Hammond Downtown Development District at the following event: Pavilion Grand Opening, July 31st, 3 to 8 p.m. at the Downtown Pavilion.
Request to table.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells? I'm sorry, Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
And Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Resolution number 5.
A resolution to authorize the Hammond Downtown Development District to sell, serve, or otherwise handle alcohol at the following event: Hot August Stroll, August 23rd, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The event boundaries are East and West Robert Street, North and South Cherry Street, East and West Coleman Avenue, and North and South Magnolia Street, and include Railroad Park, the 100 block of West Charles, near Kate Square Park and Kate Square Park. Michelle Kendall?
So we are looking for to get our ACT permit for Hot August Stroll, which is Saturday, August 23rd. We have met with Chief Bergeron about a safety plan for this event, and he approved these event boundaries, and we are working to ensure that Thomas Street in particular is barricaded for the event, since there's a high volume of people, and expanding the sidewalk by utilizing the parallel parking along Thomas will help enhance safety and address some of our bar hotspots that we've had last year. So yes, if you have any additional questions about that safety plan, we did change the date, the time, the end time for this event. We'll be ending it at 8 p.m. per his recommendation.
Is there anyone else from the public on this item? Anyone from the council have any questions or concerns about this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Abstain.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number 6.
Resolution to grant a waiver of the City of Hammond's open container law to the Hammond Downtown Development District at the following event: Hot August Stroll, August 23rd from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The event boundaries are East and West Robert Street, North and South Cherry Street, East and West Coleman Avenue, and North and South Magnolia Street, and include Railroad Park, the 100 block of West Charles near Kate Street, Kate Square Park, and Kate Square Park. Shall.
Same as stated for Hot August.
Anyone else from the public on this item? Anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve. Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Abstain.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number 7.
Thank you, Council.
A resolution to authorize We Did It Planet LLC to sell, serve, or otherwise handle alcohol at the following event: Planet in the Park, June 7th, August 9th, from 11 to 6 at K Square Park. Alec Griffith? He's not here.
All right. I'm gonna make a motion to remove this item from the agenda.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Resolution number 8.
A resolution to grant a waiver of the City of Hammond's open container law to We Did It Planet LLC in the following events: Planet in the Park, June 7th and August 9th from 11 to 6 at K Square Park.
I make a motion to remove this item from the agenda.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Resolution number 9.
A resolution to ratify and reject all bids received for Hammond Community Center addition. Charles Barsher?
There's attachment. We had 6 bids. All but one of them came in over budget. The one that came in within budget, in communicating with the bidder, and their letter is attached, they determined that they had missed a certain specification in the bid documents and would not be able to honor that price. So we're asking the council to ratify and reject all bids so that we can essentially start the process again.
All right. Anyone from the public on this item? Any other questions or concerns from anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council. I make a motion to reject.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution 10.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Daily Star to serve as the city's official journal of record from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Charles Barsher?
This is something that I believe we bring to the council every year. The Hammond Daily Star has been our official journal of record. This is where we post notifications of public hearings, of council meetings, of council minutes, where we'll post notice of the budget. They actually have gone down slightly since last year in the words per insertion cost. So we're asking the council to approve them being our official journal of record for the new calendar year, new fiscal year, which will start July 1.
How much they done went down, Charles?
I think it's just a few cents. If you give me a second, I'll find the,
We need to make one correction on the hyperlink. It says City of Hammond, Lacey Landrum, dated April the 29th, 2025, from the Daily Star. So let's make
I'm sorry,
notation
where
of
is
the
that?
correction on the letter.
oh, you're talking about the address. It was addressed to Lacey Lane.
Right, I'm just saying, we
Correct,
make
yeah.
that correction on it.
Will she still get the stuff?
People are still sending stuff to her at
Yeah,
that
they still-
address.
she still
Yeah,
get the stuff.
it comes to me, but, yeah. Give me 1 second, I'm pulling up the rate from last time. So they were at $6 per square of 100 words per insertion. They are now at $5.70.
Okay.
So it went down about 30 cents. When everything else is going up, we're delighted when things actually go down.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews. Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Leon. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
A resolution approving the city of Hammond's, the city's holiday closing schedule for fiscal year 2025 through 2026. Charles Barsham.
Again, this is something that the council, and I'm sure the public is very familiar with. This is our holiday closing schedule for the fiscal year. No real changes here. Last year, we did get an extra holiday, which was Election Day. There is no Election Day this year, so we're back to our standard holiday closing schedule. We're asking the council to approve it so that we can enjoy those holidays.
How many days is that? Like
I believe
17
it's
or
17.
something? About time to add another one, huh?
17.
And how we come up with this here schedule?
My understanding is that we had two schedules. I'm not sure if that was prior to this council. I kind of feel like we made that change maybe in the first year of this council. There was a non-civil service calendar and a civil service calendar, and we combined the two. Generally speaking, we've recognized federal holidays, state holidays, and then civil service holidays. There's a couple that are kind of specific to the state, like Mardi Gras.
Yeah, when we started, I think it was around 14. And then we're up to about 17 now.
I believe we matched the parish and all but one of the state.
Anyone else from the public on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Abstain.
Councilman Leon.
Resolution 12.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to renew a 5-year agreement with Axon Enterprise, Inc. in the amount of $445,000, $502.88, which is $89,100.58 per year under state contract 44000288582 for licensing services, including cloud storage, warranties, and upgrades for the police department's body cams. Charles.
There's a lot in this quote. The first page gives you an overall summary of the 60-month cost. The second page kind of breaks it down by year. So as Lisa read, the cost per year is a little over $89,000. The subsequent pages break that amount down even farther. So what we're getting out of this is full support for the body cameras. That number is about 113 for basically everyone in the police department. It also includes upgrades. I think it's every 2 years we can actually upgrade the cameras. It's all covered by the service agreement. It provides for the cloud storage. All of the data that's recorded by these cameras, as you might imagine, takes up a lot of space. Prior to working with Axon to put the data in the cloud, we were having to store this locally, and we were constantly running out of space in our servers. So this is essential to the function and continued operation of the body cameras. The funds for this come out of the police department's budget. We're asking for council approval.
Let me ask this question, Charles, first. And this contract has to be renewed by June?
By June 27th.
By June 27th, okay. My comment with this is basically this. I went back and forth in my mind on this particular item, and I went ahead and put it on the agenda due to the fact of the storage cloud. If the storage cloud wording would have not been mentioned in this, and body cam would have been on there by itself, it would have never made it. And the reason why I say that is the simple fact of there's always some issues going on with body cam. Number one, or you never get the information that you need when it comes down to body cam. I feel personally that everyone inside of the department should be wearing a body cam from the top all the way down to the bottom. It deals with more of a transparency type thing with me, especially when you're dealing with things in the community. You're dealing with things out in the public. You have people asking certain questions, and you want to be able to provide the accurate information to them when it comes down to this. So I'm doing everything in my power that's possible to me to be able to continue to keep a standing good relationship between my constituents and other constituents in the city of Hammond that ask questions when it comes down to these type of things when it's dealing with body cams. I can only provide the information that's being given to me. I think that there is going to have to be a lot of work done with building back up respect when it comes down in between certain areas and the city of Hammond when it comes back dealing with the police department when it comes down to issues like this. So, one, even with the fact of being asked the questions when we were asking to be able to go into the police department to view those cameras, the email was sent back that we could come and view the cameras here from the chamber, which to me was very crazy to do that because what I want to see is at the police department. The actual answer that was given was something about an investigation that was going on, okay? I'm quite sure if there was an investigation going on, if it's going on inside of the detective department, I'm quite sure they have a room for that. They're separate from where the cameras were. Now, I'll give Councilman Wells his kudos on that. I take my hat off to him on that because he handled that response rather well. I took a lot of issues with that to the simple fact of if it would have been me that was asked to go to see those cameras, I would have went the next day, me personally. They were given time to correct their issue, whatever the issue may have been. The department is a city-owned building, and I think that a councilman, anyone from the public should be allowed to come in and out of that building, either to make a complaint or to even, what I want to do, tour the building. Because you could go tour the White House if you felt like it. The level of transparency with some of this stuff is getting, that water's getting real murky. But I'm being upfront and honest with you. The only reason why this item made it on there is due to the fact of the server system. Something's going to have to change. Stanley.
Stanley Campbell, District 1. I'd like to piggyback off of what President Kipp said also. There's a lot of trust that needs to be regained with the public when it comes down to body cams and a lot of the equipment that the police officers are utilizing. I almost wish I didn't see how much we actually spent on body cams. It was kind of disgusting looking at it off of some of the cases that I've looked at this year, and there's no body camera footage that was actually presented in those cases. So I first want to say I don't object to the contract. I just want to make sure that when we're purchasing this equipment that it's being used to its intended purposes to the fullest extent of what it's being used for. There are some, I don't know, some things are coming from the public, and I talk to people, and I know other people talk to people, and some of the things that are coming out is the equipment that's being purchased is not being utilized for its intended purposes, and it's being manufactured, it's being modified, I'm sorry, like the tasers. Was HPD, did they remove the cameras from the tasers?
Yes, my understanding is that they aren't making them with the cameras any longer. I also asked about why you were not allowed into the radio room, and apparently all the panels were being changed, and they hadn't completed that process. So you want to go in there, you know, they just need to plan another day to do it. That was the response I got. So
okay, so there must be a breakdown somewhere because the response we got was there was an investigation.
Well,
Yeah.
as soon as I heard about it, I made that call.
Okay.
That was the response I received.
On the body cams also, I had a couple of questions. With disciplinary action, when you look on the city's website, there's a lot of policies and procedures on the website. The police policies and procedures is one of the only ones that's not on there. I don't know if that was strategic or if it was just kind of left out, but I'd like to see if you guys have that available. Should it be available to the public? If not, do I need to put an open records request in for the policies and procedures manual for police department?
You can do that as well. As far as the use of the body cameras and when they are used and when something goes wrong, yes, disciplinary actions come down. Civil service goes through its process. The attorney steps in and helps out with the appropriate discipline,
Yeah.
depending on what is and is not appropriate in civil service, which is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I'm gonna land the plane. Basically, there's a lot of, I saw on some of it, I went to the Civil Services website, and I know you guys kind of work with them hand in hand, and there's some of the policies that come from them, and there's a lot of disciplinary action for if an officer left certain, if he lost certain equipment, if he showed up for duty without his service weapon, the disciplinary for tampering with certain type of equipment. And I don't know if it's a policy maybe the city needs to come up with, because these situations and these cases, for body cam footage to constantly keep coming up missing and officers forgetting to turn their body cameras on, for us to be spending $500,000 on it, it's frustrating as the public to spend that amount of money and to constantly have the same issue happen over and over and over again. The city feels okay paying for it, the citizens feel okay paying for it, but they want to be protected from it. If we're not reaping the benefits of it, I recommend we don't buy body cameras anymore.
Well, I think that's kind of, that was my concern. I support the cameras. I support, body cameras, and I'd like to see them being used all the time, and especially in issues. But my concern I have, and I've heard it from the public, heard it from police officers that are in the department, everything else is, that they're not being used and turned on, they're selective. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I have have concerns on spending $500,000 on this, and they're not being used. It's not just, it's also about liability to the city, about how many lawsuits we may have from, civil lawsuits we may have from not having the body cameras on, and how much the taxpayers are spending on lawsuits and lawsuits from, different people getting injured or whatnot, not having a body camera on. I don't know that. I mean, that'd be an Andre question if we have a lot of those cases or not. Not sure if you can talk about it in public or not with that, but those are concerns, and I think I would like to feel more comfortable going forward with this. I'd like to see the consequences and what are the actual administrative disciplinary actions that are taking place for any that have not had their body cameras on going into a heated area that could cause some harm to them, to whoever they're arresting, and public. It's important to have on, and all this equipment we're buying costs a lot of money, and they're preventative. And I have some concerns on if they're being used like they're supposed to be used, and I also really didn't sit well with me whenever we tried to set a meeting to come look at the cameras that we spent all these money on in the police station, and we weren't allowed to come in the police station. As councilmen of the city representing the people, we want to see how the money is being spent, how things operating, if they're on, if they're not on, if they're working, and to be told that's not what we requested. We didn't want to come in here to council chambers. We wanted to come in there, take a look, see everything's going, then nothing. So that wasn't that didn't sit well to me. It's concerning. It's a transparency. It's doesn't put a good feeling out there, and so especially when we're responsible for the people that live in Hammond's tax base and their money and their revenue, and we got roads that we need to get fixed. We got drainage issues, we got all kind of issues, and we're spending money on equipment that's not being used, from what I understand, all the time. So I'd like to get a little better understanding on that before I support this. And I'd like to see the consequences and the discipline actions that we have in place and how many has actually even been implemented and put forth to any officers who haven't had them on.
So once again, the panels were being replaced in there from what I understood. Anytime you want to reschedule, that can be done. When a police car hits its lights, apparently the new technology automatically turns on the vehicle cam and the officer's cam now. When I first came in, we brought in the cams on the tasers. And I've asked again why we don't have those, and that was the response I was given, was that they're no longer selling them. So that right there is interesting to me. But as far as discipline, anyone who hadn't had a camera on has gotten disciplined. And that's what we work with the attorney, with the civil service, making sure that we're doing that all properly, because they are protected. And as far as when we do have cameras, usually there are other people with cameras around. So if one does go off for whatever reason, there's usually someone else there with a camera and or the car or cars that are in the area. So,
Is there something that states the disciplinary action that's being taken? I mean, is it a verbal disciplinary action, or
it
is
all
it,
depends on, the situation.
okay? What about if someone was removing, anytime you put a FOIA request in, an open records request in, do you have access to, do you get notified of that?
I get notified of that.
You get
I'm the
notified
last
of it?
person that it comes to. So
Okay.
when discipline gets set down, I'm the final piece
Okay.
of that puzzle.
So in a situation where if someone put in an open records request for a body cam footage, and when they received it a month later, and the audio had been deleted from it, and the audio was the damaging portion of it, in that situation, what would be the corrective action there?
First of all, who says an audio was deleted? How are you even saying that? You're just sitting up here saying it, but do you have proof of it? So there's a lot of things that have to be.
I'm simply asking an open question.
Well,
In that
direct question
situation,
of something that may or may not have happened. So that's why you always get the answer of, this is under investigation. When the investigation is done, then the information will be set out as per the attorneys, and Andre can answer that as well.
Well, let me just jump in there. So the response to that question is, if you were provided, when we provide body cam footage, we provide it on a DVD. There have been occasions that I'm aware of where the DVD didn't write properly, right? In those situations, what I have seen is when we're notified that they can't read the DVD, that the video doesn't come through, the audio doesn't come through, we have that body cam footage reburned to disk, and we provide that to the requester at no additional charge. I would like to, because like I said, this is something I have direct oversight of. So last year, we had 156 requests for body cam footage. We did about 500 public record requests in total, so 156 is a significant number of those. We were able to fill 130 of those. 19 were not fulfilled because they were under court or some type of discovery proceedings, so we can't reveal that information. 3, they had the wrong information. We couldn't match it to a record. And in only 4 cases were we unable to provide the record for some reason. There just was no footage. Maybe it was an incident where no action was taken, there was no footage. This year alone, just in the first 4 months or so, we've had 83 requests for body cam footage. We've been able to fulfill to date 72 of those. So from my perspective, the cameras are being worn, they are being used. I will tell you that attorneys for traffic crashes, this is now standard procedure. They don't just request a copy of the traffic report and a supplemental report, they always request dash cam footage and body cam footage. So this is a sizable portion of what we're providing in public records requests. And we can continue to update the council on these numbers. I spoke with the chief myself, and he's told me, as the mayor has said, that when an officer is found not to have been wearing his body cam, or the body camera was off and there was no functional reason why it wasn't working, they are disciplined. I think it varies depending upon the nature of the incident, the severity of the incident, et cetera. But
I think the issue right now is maybe the punishment is not severe enough and it's kind of worth it. It's kind of worth the situation. I think it's created a culture of the opposite of transparency. So if these guys are continuously doing this over and over and over again, where they're forgetting to turn their body cams on, I mean, I think the punishment should escalate along with the issue also. And I don't know, it's something that's got to get fixed. But these systems have an audit trail system on them.
correct.
And in a situation that I was just speaking of, if the audio was removed from something, can an officer tamper with this equipment?
No, I mean, there's only certain officers.
Certain officers.
Let me back up. Tamper with the equipment. I mean,
No, not the equipment.
You're talking about the
footage,
actual
the
video.
footage itself, as far as removing
Anyone-
footage or muting footage.
So only certain individuals within the police department have access to the cloud stored video.
Who would that be?
I can't tell you offhand, but it's only certain individuals. Anyone who accesses that cloud, that is audited, right? There's an automated record trail. When the video is uploaded, it's recorded, it indicates who uploaded it, when it was uploaded, how big the file is, et cetera. When we provide body cam footage, you might imagine if it's related to a particular, like, say, traffic accident, that might be one snippet of video that's 30 minutes long and 8 hours worth of video.
Okay.
So someone goes in and pulls that 30 minutes out, that is recorded. So there is, in fact, an audit trail within the cloud. That's one of the reasons that we spend the money we do, is because it provides accountability. You can't
We
just
have
go
one
in
officer who, his job is to review camera, video.
Okay. Thank you.
And to be assured, if one officer on multiple occasions has this issue, his discipline is going to get greater.
Pam Haynes. One question. We spend a lot of money, and $500,000 is a lot of money. Do we have to renew for 5 years? Can some of that be scaled down? Because technology changes, and you're going to do a 5-year contract. So y'all need to look into kind of scaling it down some.
I think, as he said, as the technology changes, we get the upgrades for free.
Yes, this, if you missed it earlier, I said that this actually includes, I think it's every 2 years, we're eligible for a hardware upgrade on the cameras, and then, of course, all the software updates that come are part of the service agreement.
Good evening, Tracy Wells, Hammond, Louisiana. So one thing that I heard Mr. Brashear say was that Axion makes it easier to upload in the cloud versus using the ID department, which says to me that you can utilize your IT department for this service versus spending $500,000. That's the first thing. The second thing, this is a quote. Councilman Andrews, President, asked, does the contract end in June? This is just a quote, and the quote expires in June, but according to the paperwork, the contract doesn't start till November. So you have time to make the decision. You don't have to make the decision tonight. On page 3, it talks about Axion community request. What is the Axion community request that we're paying for? What part of the a la carte software is that?
I'm sorry, what page was that?
It's on page 3 under a la carte software, and it says Axion community request. So what does that cover for us, the community?
I am not familiar, I'm not sure if that is a community component, as a publicly accessible component, or if it's just,
It's on their website.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Is a Axon Community Request. You can invite individual witnesses to their entire community to submit photos and videos of incident directly to your agency. Community-wide public portals and one-to-one submission to help to get to the truth.
Okay, are we utilizing that service already? I haven't heard of any.
I've heard of people who can text or send their, like their Ring doorbell, like for when people are stealing packages or breaking into cars. I know that they do that.
Okay, so is that public knowledge for the entire city of Hammond citizens to know we can utilize that service that we're paying $61,000 for? The second point is on the same page under delivery schedule, it looks as if you're only receiving components not until 2028 and 2030. So we're spending money on a contract, and for some reason, we're not receiving all of the components until 3 to 5 years from now. So I'm not understanding how we're renewing a contract for 5 years, but they have a delivery date that is 2028 and 2030. Do you see that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
as I said earlier, some of the hardware components are eligible for hardware upgrades. That's what that refers to. So we may have just upgraded some components, and so those will be eligible for upgrade in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
That's what that is. And just to clarify something, the quote that you have in front of you does expire at the end of June 27th. If we don't renew the contract by June 27th, Axon has indicated that the quote will go up. That first page shows total savings of $288,352. So we could be looking at a significant increase in costs. They're also currently willing to honor, in our original agreement that we're trying to renew, they included that hardware upgradability that you just referenced. That's something that they don't necessarily offer without an upcharge now. So if we renew by June 27th, then we are assured to continue our contract with them to get all of the upgraded hardware on the hardware replacement cycle and not lose any type of connectivity to the cloud or have to figure out what to do with our video.
And so to piggyback a little bit off of what Ms. Haynes said and Councilman DiVittorio said, 5 years is a long time to do a contract. And as Councilman Andrews says, if there's any unreadiness, you have 2 more council meetings that you can have before you make this decision. If you have any questions that need to be answered. For me, you have 8 persons who have access to the pro license, and you have 94 access to the basic license. Mr. Campbell asked who has access. That question couldn't be answered. That's a question that we would like to know. Who has access to those licenses? What type of discipline can be performed? And again, why is the 5 years such a necessity? Thank you.
I got a lot to say. Mr. Mayor, thank you. You give me permission to go to the police station today. Today I get permission to go to the police station to look at the monitors of Mooney Park. And 2 months now. And I played the game, followed along. You know, Mr. Charles got back with me, told me the holiday coming up. I respect that. Then he got back with me. IT going on vacation. I respect that. I communicate with Miss Lisa. Miss Lisa got back with me and say they ready for me. I told her good. Pick a time, pick a date, because I wanted Miss Lisa to go with me. 2 eyes, 4 eyes better than 2 eyes, because I don't use my glasses all the time. And I said that to say this here. Miss Lisa said he want me to come to the council chamber. They got an IT man in the council chamber right now behind this wall. So if I wanted to see this, and this was so bad about it, Miss Lisa gave me some papers of the cameras in the park. And be exact, Miss Lisa and I, we went to Clark Park just to view them cameras over there. The camera is too high on that bathroom. And I asked Miss Lisa, look back and see what you see. The tree limb, Charles, you lied about it. The tree ain't bigger than this stand. So if you didn't lie about it, let me see the cameras and show me you wasn't lying. The building, the camera is too far up, and you hitting the edge of the building. That's why you couldn't see what was going on. And I tell everybody, I'm not going to talk about nothing unless I know for myself. President Kip, I thank you for this. No, I'm one that's mad that it's even showed up on the agenda. Yeah, I'm mad. But I can't pick and choose what go on the agenda. And now here we talking about cameras right now, when this could have been solved a month ago. Let me see the monitors. Mr. Mayor, once again, thank you. If the monitors was out in Cape Park, I can respect that. I gave them 3 weeks to work on everything they need to work on. And Mr. Campbell, let me tell you this here. The cameras work when they want them to work. I ran the stop sign on Mooney Avenue. I'm the one that asked for the stop sign to go there. And was mad. My wife and I got into it. My cousin and I got into it. Me and the lawyer got into it. He said, Councilman Wells, you ran the light. You ran the stop sign. I said, no, y'all lying, y'all lying. They showed me the cameras from the police department. And guess what? They work when they come to me. But it's amazing. And it's sad that we even talking about cameras right now. A man supposed to got tased. A man supposed to have his camera on. And yet, let me know it's under investigation. Just tell me. It's amazing. In my community, the man got shot in the mouth. And I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you don't get control of what's going on with this gun violence, it's going to spill over into your neighborhood. You know how long I've been saying this? A long time. Ms. Gonzalez said something that shocked a lot of us tonight. Man, people with dope cam, they have a problem, they can send it to the police station. And it worked. My wife told me don't say no more bad words, so I'm not going to say no bad word. But it's amazing why all of us don't know this information. Whenever we talk about something, it's amazing how Ms. Gonzalez have all the questions and all the answers, and he'll charge the administration. He don't have the answers. So I have a lot of problems. What's going on? Mr. Mayor, thank you again. I'm going to try to do it again, but it's amazing how this here come up now that I can go over there to the police station and look at the monitors. But if this wouldn't have been on the agenda, it still would have been quiet. Just like the guy, Polder got tased, the cameras ain't nowhere in the world. When the police do something wrong, we the councilmen ought to know. When the police do something right, we the councilmen ought to know. I bag the police department 100% if they right. But if they wrong, let it be known that they're wrong. We have an issue here. We can't keep being quiet. We can't let it keep going over and over again. Something happened, and it's quiet. The community, it's gonna break loose. Mr. Mayor, it shouldn't have to break loose. You the mayor, it shouldn't have to break loose of you just call and show us what's going on. That's all we ask for. Been asking for. I've been real quiet about McAllister. I haven't made no noise. Nobody heard me say nothing. How long you think I'm gonna be quiet when we can solve this? Mr. Mayor, I'm not trying to mess the investigation up. God knows I don't want to mess the investigation up. But as a councilman in Councilman Andrew district, this took place. In my district, a man got shot in the mouth. It took place. We, the councilmen, need to be able to come back and tell the public something. I'm glad Mr. Campbell concerned, because a lot of times when you're not in these communities, we don't be concerned. And so that's why you see so many be quiet up here and so many talking about it. So this is a thing that I don't even know how to vote. God knows I want the police to be able to cover themselves when they do something right, when they do something wrong. But in the meantime, and I don't want to hear this word, I'm defunding the police department. No, I'm not defunding nobody. I want things what's right. And that's all we asking for. Stop making up excuses and these long speeches that ain't getting nowhere. We have a problem in the communities. The communities want to know. But when I ran that stop sign, once again, let me tell y'all, that camera worked. It showed every teeth that I had in my mouth, and I wasn't even smiling. That's how we want these cameras to work for everything when something take place. I asked about these cameras, Mr. Charles. I kind of glanced at paper Miss Lisa gave me. And you done talked about it 2 times, them little kids in Jackson Park. You don't know if them kids got teeth in their mouth or not. I want the same cameras that the police using for these parks. I'm very concerned about all the parks, about all the kids. That's why I keep bringing it up. I need these cameras to work, because we done spent so much money for these cameras to work in these parks. And it's like, we don't waste the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Is there anyone else on this item? I'm going to ask a request of my colleagues, we table this item until our next meeting to get some follow-up information from Charles that I have before I move forward on this particular item. And let me say this too, behind what Councilman Wells said. I'm not here trying to defund the police department or anything like that, because I know there's going to be a lot of talk like that on the social media. The Three Amigos or whatever they wanted to call it, it's not that at all. Not at all. It's back to transparency and being held accountable for your actions. And if there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide. If there's nothing to put a Band-Aid on, then it doesn't need to be Band-Aided or duct taped. But I'm asking that we table this item to the next meeting. I have a few things I want to send Charles to get some clarification on, me personally, before I move forward on this item. And again, the only reason why I went ahead and allowed it to come on tonight was due to the fact of getting clarification of the contract, some information with the contract, and due to the server. So I'm going to make a motion to table this until our next meeting in May.
Second.
Councilman Leon?
No.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Resolution number 13.
A resolution to ratify proposals received for Mooney Avenue Park Splash Pad, RFP 25-11, and award a contract in the amount of $123,000 to the lowest responsive and responsible Prosper Francis Horticultural Services pending concurrence from the State Land and Water Conservation Fund Program. Charles Barsher.
We received 2 bids. They're up there for everyone to see. There was a low bid from Francis Horticultural Services in the amount of $123,000. That includes the additive alternate to actually connect the utilities. That is within our budget, actually a little bit lower than what we were anticipating. This is a grant-funded project through our Land and Water Conservation Program grant for Mooney Avenue Park. So we will need to seek concurrence from the state program in the award, but we're asking the council to approve the lowest responsible quote from Francis Horticultural Services in the amount of $123,000 so that we can proceed with this project.
Anyone from the public on this item? Any questions or concerns from anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Step down. Resolution number 14.
A resolution to appoint Nicholas LeBlanc to the Hammond Historic District Commission for the remainder of 4-year term ending December 31st, 2028, Mr. LeBlanc will be completing the term of Brandon Ricotta, who has stepped down after being reappointed to the commission in December 2024. Heather Diebold.
Heather Diebold, City of Hammond Historic District, 219 East Robert Street. Mr. LeBlanc's resume speaks for itself. As both a certified building official and a certified floodplain manager with a lifelong passion for historic architecture, he is able to provide a unique perspective to the city's Historic District Commission. He has extensive experience in administering and enforcing preservation standards, zoning ordinances, and building codes that directly impact historic properties. Throughout his 17 years with the Tangipahoa Parish government, where he currently serves as the permitting director and building official, an additional 3 years with the city of Mandeville, where he served as the building official, Mr. LeBlanc worked closely with property owners, architects, and municipal leaders to ensure that maintenance, restoration, and redevelopment projects upheld the aesthetic and structural integrity of historic properties. He will be taking over the term previously served by Brandon Ricotta. As a proud resident of the city of Hammond, Mr. LeBlanc meets all the requirements set forth for a historic district commissioner, and I would believe he will be a very valuable asset to the commission. Mr. LeBlanc is present for any questions.
You step to the mic, please. Give your name and city, please.
Yes, sir. Nick LeBlanc, 203 College Drive, Hammond, Louisiana.
How's it going, Nick? You sure you want to do this?
Yes, sir, Councilman.
Huh? I'm glad you're stepping up a plate to help them out over there. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir.
Is there anything additional you'd like to add?
No, Heather covered it well. First, I want to thank all of you for your service and for having me this evening. I want to say that I appreciate that. I work in Tangipahoa Parish government as the building official and permitting director, she said, and I'm fortunate I get to impact my community. Most people don't get to say that, and my hope is to continue that with the city itself, not so much the unincorporated portions as well. As you said, really in Mandeville, I developed an appreciation for historic structures. We were really fortunate to see probably 30 or 40 deconstruction, reconstruction, and really understand the integrity of these structures, the significance of historic district preservation, and then also trying to bring some humanity and reasonableness to some of these commissions to say, hey, what's going on? What's the intent of the legislative body? What are the guidelines from the state and the feds say? And then how do we do that with the idea of helping our citizens develop and our economic development? And I think that that's a good position to have for any commission within the city, and I hope to fill that role for you all.
Thank you for stepping up and doing this, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes, sir. Councilman Wells.
I'm gonna say thank you.
Thank you.
And one, I can say this about Mr. LeBlanc, and I don't know if nobody else, to be honest with you, I think he the first one ever done this. He actually reached out to me and talked to me and told me what good he'll do to be on this board. And I'd had 3 other people talking behind him. And it's my first time seeing him. It's a lot of people like you, man, because if I wanted to say no, I can't say no, because they already done said so much good things about you. So I just want to tell you thank you, and we appreciate you being a part of Hammond helping out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you for taking on this responsibility.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman DiViterio?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
I'm going to sit if that's all.
Thank
Thank y'all so much. Really.
Thank you.
Good, Nick.
Resolution number 15.
A resolution supporting the submission of a $10,000 application to the Louisiana Main Street Restoration Grant Program for improvements to the Levy Building. Charles Busher.
Our new grants director actually identified this opportunity. We've looked into grants through the Louisiana Main Street program before. The Levy Building, which also houses the Hammond Regional Arts Center, qualifies as a museum under this program. This is basically a storefront grant, right? The idea is to make for more attractive storefronts to bring people into your business or your museum. And it just so happens that we're still doing some work over there. We've done, in the last year or so, we've done work to watertight the building. Now that it's watertight, we're working on doing some more cosmetic improvements to the front windows and an entranceway to the museum, which has needed that work for some time. So we're asking the council to approve. It's a $10,000 application. And we're hoping we can get that fund to make this project go.
Anyone else on this item from the public? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 16.
A resolution to request an attorney general opinion regarding guns in the city parks and recreation areas. Councilman Andrews?
I reached out to Andre a while back after an incident that happened this year in MLK Park in reference to how we could ban guns from the park. If I'm not mistaken, Andre, we discussed that it was something dealing with a federal law or something that.
Yes, sir. So at your request, I did research this. There are a couple of things to consider. One is the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which gives a right to bear arms. There are some recent United States Supreme Court opinions, some recent law review articles that suggest that if there's a historic prohibition, if the history of our country had some prohibitions, then a local government would be able to restrict prohibitions and restrictions. So I think we can get over a hurdle of a Second Amendment claim that we can't do this. The second question becomes state law. And what I found in research is there are two state statutes that are implicated. One that talks about the municipality having unlimited police power for the preservation of peace and order in parks and playgrounds. So that's one state statute that suggests that you've got that authority. However, there's another state statute that specifically deals with guns and firearms and possession. And that state statute says no governing authority of a political subdivision shall enact or enforce any ordinance that's more restrictive than state law. And state law does have restrictions. That would be in places like police stations or a detention facility, a prison, courthouse, schools, school buses. But there's no state restriction on possession of guns in parks and playgrounds. So you've got the one hand, which seems to be police power authority. You've got the second hand that says you can't restrict more gun possession than what the state allows. So my recommendation, Councilman, was two things. Number one, you try to change state law that says that adds playgrounds to the areas of restriction, or since these are state statutes that are in seemingly conflict, let's request an opinion from the state attorney general to see what they say about these two statutes. And that would at least give you and help inform you on what your ability might be to place restrictions on guns in parks.
So that's why I'm at right now on this particular item here, to get some type of clarification to see what we're able to do to get a handle on this before things get totally out of control and we end up back in the wild, wild west.
Stanley Campbell, District 1. On this item, I just wanted to say thanks to the administration, HPD, and the Sheriff's Office for a lot of the bust that they have. They remove a lot of guns and drugs off the street. In the last, I want to say 2 months, I don't know if, I'm not certain if that's the street crimes unit or whatever else, but I see it on Facebook and there's a lot of activity that's going on. And I just wanted to say thanks for that also. But in Tangipahoa Whole Parish as a whole, there's a huge uptick in violent crime and gun violence in our youth. And most recently, there was a shooting on yesterday. Last week, there was a shooting in Amite. And there was another shooting in Ponchatoula, of course, for the Strawberry Festival. The NAACP, my president, Mr. Michael Showers, he hosted an event in Amite at Grant Chapel last week. And I want to welcome everybody out on May the 20th to get involved in a community event that we're putting on to actually reach the youth in Tangipahoa Parish and try to reduce the gun violence.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Thank you, President Kip. Andre, Mr. Andre, help me out. I think In Louisiana, everybody got the right to carry a gun,
Generally. yes.
generally. Okay, but I think on Bourbon Street, and I'm not for sure, I don't think they can bring a gun on Bourbon Street. And,
That would be the city council of New Orleans that would control that.
okay, and so, can't have guns around the school zone. And I'm saying this here, we just got through talking about it. You're talking about having an event at Cape Park. And in the process of having a event in Cape Park, and I know where Kip coming from. I know what he's saying. In the poor areas, I'm talking about Mooney Park, in the poor areas, I ask this. We don't want nobody to carry guns in the park. A lot of us don't go to Mooney Park. It don't make sense to wait till somebody dead and say, we shoulda, we coulda. Cape Park about to have an event coming up. And Councilman Kip asked for this here too. He asked for patrol to be in the park. I heard Miss Michelle say she talked to the chief. They're gonna be at Cape Park. I didn't talk to the chief, but I'm quite sure somebody talked to him. If police are present in the park, it can prevent a lot from taking place. In Mooney Park, we need bigger signs saying that the city of Hammond is patrolling the park. They monitoring the cameras, and don't put the sign up if we lying, so don't do that. But I'm saying this here, we have to do something, because I don't want to go to another kid funeral. And that's what we seeing, a bunch of kids carrying guns, and then we need to look into where they getting the guns from. And from what I'm hearing on the streets, because the streets be talking, they getting the guns from the convenience stores. That's what I'm hearing on the street, because everybody carrying these guns is under 21, under 18. And so that's what we need to be looking into. We can't keep sitting here making it relax, and because I'm quite sure, Mr. Andre, you don't go to these parks. And I call it a bad park, Mooney Park. But we have to have control of these parks. And we have to find some way. Because just like we can't carry a gun in that post office. That's how I need to be in these parks. And the ones who carry the guns, they gonna do right. But the ones who know they don't supposed to have the gun, they don't have right in them. So we need to look into this here as if our mother about to get shot. And I'm saying that's how serious it is. If we cover our mother, and Mother Day just passed, and like we want to protect our mother. Because I know I want to protect my kids and everybody else's kids that come to Mooney Park. In every park. That's why we talked about putting the cameras in the park. I told you about the smoking. I don't want weed in the park. I don't want cigarettes in the park. They ain't sure don't want alcohol in the park. So if we get control of all this here stuff now, I didn't curse because she told me don't curse. So if we get control of this stuff now, we won't have this problem, because the summer is right around the corner. So, Mr. Andre, just like everything else, you know how we protect certain people? Let's protect this here and act like our mother involved in it. Thank you.
Okay, I went in the park Sunday for Mother's Day. I took my auntie. Didn't see no police there, but they had so much weed, smoking. My allergy bad, I had to move out the way. And most of the time when they have something in the park, Mayor, they always shoot. We got to do better what we're doing in Hammond. Police got to get on board, be honest about what they're doing. Because if I can say it, Mayor, I'm hurting, still hurting, about a situation they did me. Whole year, an investigation. of shoplifting. I went to your office, chief told me to take the paper to your office, got the piece of paper, accused me, wanna charge me $1,000 for shoplifting. That was embarrassing. My church member told me, Miss Jackie, get the paper. Got the paper, talked to the public defender. He said, I was there when you came, Miss Jackie. Prosecutor said, you gonna pay $1,000? I said, no, sir. I don't steal. Used to work for the state. I don't drink. I try to do right in this community. Everybody know me. I Ursha Fionas. I try to do right. But that was hurting to have me go to court a whole year, Mayor. No, not going to court, an investigation. Police said, how do you know? I said, you came to my house. You said I have pink hair. I don't have no pink hair. Who that little child is? I don't know who that little child is. But you embarrassed me, and it hurted. I stood. I cried. Many nights I cried. My daughter said, Mom, don't work, but that hurted me. For a police to come to my house, accuse me. I even went down there to the store. And they said, ma'am, I didn't say you stole nothing. But the police did me that. That's what I'm saying. These crooked police, the things they do, they got to get on board. Because see, God, he sits high, he look low. You keep on doing that. Hammond's getting to be something. I lived in New Orleans. This is going to be a baby in New Orleans. Because so much killing. Yesterday they had something. Week before they had something. These police got to be honest. Get out there and do your job. Put on the camera. When you came, the girl broke in my house. I called you and said she didn't go to court. I told you the man accused, talking about he finna jump on my husband and do him. I said, no, you're not finna jump on him. I told the police, you didn't hear him when he said, oh no, Miss Jackie, I'm trying to take care of you. How you try to take care of me? That man telling you in your face, telling you right in your face, well, he finna do my husband. No, they need to do what they need to do. Because if they don't do what they need to do, they need to get out the force. Bring some honest, good officers. We got good officers, but you got the young ones that corrupted, they get on the job and don't do nothing. They just ride around and just turn the city upside down. But see, just like they got big guns, these young men out here got big guns too. And they're getting tired. I talk to these young men. They're getting tired of how these police doing them, not being honest. You got to be honest. You got to be honest in anything you do. Because guess what? Payday is coming after a while. Everything you do, guess what? It's coming back to you. Thank you. Love you, man.
Right. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman DeViterio.
Aye.
And Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Resolution 17.
A resolution to approve the engagement of Deborah Villo to represent the city of Hammond and its employees in cases where there is conflict of interest with the city attorney's representation. Andre Kudrin.
Yes, Council, I asked for this matter to be placed on the agenda, and under the city charter, the city attorney represents the city and its employees in litigation and cases. There is sometimes, not often, but there are times when I have a conflict of interest. It's an ethical conflict of interest in representing the city or its employees in cases. When it's come up, it's typically big cases, and basically we turn it over to the city's insurance company to provide a defense, because that's in the city's insurance contract and they do it. However, there's been a couple of recent cases that aren't really not big cases, but I do have a conflict of interest in representing the city. And so I'm recommending that we hire a lawyer to represent the city in conflict cases where I'm conflicted out. I sought out the recommendation from the city's third-party insurance claims administrator. It's the group that the city contracts with to administer claims against the city, and asked her for recommendation because she deals with lawyers in that business. So I was looking for someone who had experience representing government agencies, because there are specific defenses, immunities, and other things that apply to government agencies, and certainly someone who's good, respectable, does good work, is experienced, and does it at a fair price. So I was careful about what the rate was that the attorneys charge. The attorney I'm recommending is Deborah Villio. She practices on the South Shore, which I thought was good because that would avoid any personal conflicts of someone she may know and be conflicted out because of a personal conflict representing the city. She has agreed to do it at a rate of $200 an hour, which is a fair rate, much less than what the highest rate is approved by the Attorney General. She's very experienced in this kind of work. Ms. Villio could not be here tonight because she's a state representative and she's in Baton Rouge and in the midst of a legislative session. So I am recommending, based on the recommendations I've received, that we engage Ms. Villio and her firm to represent the city where I've got a conflict of interest in representation.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item?
Stanley Campbell, District 1. Andre, when there's a conflict of interest in these situations, I know her rate is out $200 an hour. Is that an additional expense to the city on top of your expense?
Well, so if I'm conflicted, then I wouldn't be charging for that. So it would be a substituted rate.
So, Mr. Andre, ask a question. If she couldn't be here tonight, what if somebody got to go to court? What's she going to be?
She has lawyers in her office to do the work. Yes.
So what did we do last year when we had this here problem? Because this is my first time ever seeing this.
Well, so in prior times when there's a conflict, we turn it over to the insurance company. So it's typically big cases where it's going to go above the city's, basically your deductible is $100,000. And if it's over $100,000, then the insurance company picks up the tab for that. So what we've done is we've said, look, you take this case, it's going to be over that, you pick the lawyers, you decide what's going to happen, and that's how it's been done. Here lately, though, Councilman, there's a couple of cases that have come up where here's a conflict, here's a conflict, here's a conflict. I said, well, we need to go get somebody lined up to do it. So that's where we are today.
Must be an uptick. Is there an uptick going on right now?
I can't explain it other than it's not a big case where we would turn over the defense to the insurance company. These are smaller cases, but there's still a conflict with my representation.
Anyone else? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Reports, mayor's office.
I want to mention one more time that selling alcohol in the parks, to me, is not a good idea. I would hope that you think about that in the future. I know we've been doing this for a while. DDD started the Hot August Nights back when the downtown was just getting renovated. Businesses weren't really doing well. It was to attract business downtown, and they did it into the night. Our businesses are doing well. Our downtown is doing well. The crowds are big and hard to control. It's something that I hope that you just think about in the future. That's why I quit signing off on events in the streets until 10. After dark, I think it should be shutting down. Let people start dispersing. If they want to go into businesses and restaurants and enjoy themselves, great. But to stay out on the streets and to allow them to sell in the streets, I don't think is a good idea. Just my opinion.
Mayor, can I make a comment after that, please? After we had that conversation, I sent an email to Andre, which you can now disregard because I found it was going to be an ordinance to prohibit alcohol in the parks. But then I see the ordinance, and there is hereby prohibited in any city park or public property adjacent thereto any consumption of alcohol beverages. B, additionally, there is also prohibited in any city park or public property adjacent thereto the possession of any open container of alcohol beverage or other receptacle containing an alcoholic beverage. C, the prohibition may be temporarily waived for various civic and/or community activities upon prior application to the mayor through the Director of Administration approval thereof. And then there's one other thing that's not really applicable. So I think that you have the option to tell people no, so that it doesn't even come to us, if I'm reading that correctly. So maybe we need to look at this more. Chapter 22, or section 22.6 of the Muni Code.
I think as Devon was saying, times are changing, kids are changed. Grandparents used to be involved, could look at us and straighten us up. Young kids today are different, and they have access to guns. They check cars constantly. These are things that I see on a daily basis. Folks get smarter when they get caught doing things. So they don't break windows in vehicles typically much anymore, unless they see a purse or a computer, and they check doorknobs, they pull handles. And that's a lot of how they get weapons as well. Doesn't make it right, but it's life, and it's what's going on. And as many have said tonight, things are different. They can get worse, and someone can die, and people have been dying. So I hope it is in my purview, and let me know.
I think that we need to come up with there's a process, right? They ask us to put it on the agenda, but before that even happens, there needs to be something where the mayor gives its blessing to come to us. Because it has to come to us for the ATC.
Yes.
Which I understand.
Yes.
But before it even comes to us, it needs to be approved by the mayor according to our code.
Well, the mayor does have the authority to approve it. Now, it doesn't speak to, if he denies it, can they appeal it to the council? You're right, that doesn't speak to that. But yes, so generally you can't have alcohol in parks unless it's approved, unless there's a special permit, and it talks about for community activities. So, yeah, we can look at this and fine tune it in whichever direction you want to go. But you can approve it.
You've seen what happened at Strawberry Fest. Wesley Daniels and I have talked about it. He is as well stopping events at 8 in the evenings. There's no purpose. I mean, you can have a good time at the events without the alcohol. If that's part of the event, that's fine, but at least stop it early on. Later at night, nothing good happens after 12 for sure. But I mean, dark to me, people can disperse and go on their way or go into the businesses. I don't see the need to have them in the street, especially stopping traffic on Highway 190, a state highway. And it's dangerous for the individuals and the police officers trying to enforce. That's my opinion.
Any council reports?
Yes. You can go.
Okay, you want to go first?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm glad you said that, and it's been bothering me for a minute. I like how you said 12 o'clock. And I'd like to sit there and see if we can do something about the bar rooms closing at 12. Because we got issues. So if we're going to look into this here, let's look into everything when it comes to alcohol. And I used to run a bar room, and Mr. Mayor said, he said a whole lot. After 12, everything come out. And so we need to start shutting the bar rooms, the restaurants down at 12 o'clock. It's bad. We're in a different time. But that being said, I want to sit here and thank the city council. And Mr. Mayor, I'm going to see if we can open that door again.
Yes, sir.
I would like to be able to go see them cameras. See the monitors if they all up. If they not all up, I understand that we still working on them. But if they all up, and Ms. Lisa, if you have time, I would like to go see them again for the first time.
That would be no problem. Also, the city of Ruston, which has 2 universities very close to it, shuts down at 12 o'clock.
I think that's a good idea. Devon may need to look into. Mayor, the drainage I told you about a while back on that Hammond Housing Authority building over the week, a couple years back, we had a little issue with the back of it. There's a property behind there that they was not being able to drain out. They cleaned it up, the property in the back of that building, but they're still having issues. So I wanted to get a good look at that again. Maybe call Robert Morgan or something or whatnot to try to get working on that, because the lady was having water backing up again. So I thought it was already taken care of, but from what I understand, it hasn't been. So I want to concentrate on that this week before all these rains start coming in.
That's off Old Baton Rouge.
Old Baton Rouge Highway, the new one where they did it. They did a good job. It looks
property,
nice.
right?
It
Behind
is,
that.
well, the Hammond Housing Authority, and then it's the house behind it off of Timber Lane backs up, so it's not flowing out there, right? But they did a good job with the building. I mean, it looks nice. I'm glad to see them there. Hammond Housing Authority did a good job with it. Trying to think of something else. Seems I had one other thing, but yeah. Anyway, that's all for me right now.
Any other reports? All right. Charles, do you have an update for me on MLK Park?
Yes. Do you want to let this gentleman go first, or?
How's everybody? How you doing?
My question is, does it have a search and seizure law? Is that the law? Search and
It's up under the Constitution.
for its Constitution.
Yeah.
All right. I'm focused on these kids killing one another. All these guns. All right. When should the police search and seize all these kids got these guns? Is it a certain time he see a kid huddle up or whatever? What time can they search these guys and try to take some of these guns off the street?
First, you got to have probable cause.
All right, you got your probable cause. All right, now they're gonna stop the person, the kids. All right, if you know the probable cause, then it did something. Then the police just wouldn't stop them for nothing. When they stop them, they did something right then. Out of order, I think. Because I don't think the police just gonna just stop nobody. Well, they can.
And they will.
They will. They'll stop me, but some of them let me go, though. They'll stop me, but they like police. They let me go. Mr. Jack, go ahead. What I'm saying is, tell me, how can you take a gun? Say like the police station, take a gun off the street. When can they seize the gun? You say it under proper consideration and all that. But when they take the gun, what they stock it at the police station?
Yes.
So you can't take someone's gun unless they're not allowed to have it. People are allowed to have guns.
So you tell
You
you
just-
can't take a gun, not cutting you off. You can't take a gun.
If it's not in a spot that's prohibited to have guns.
You mean to tell me all these young people got guns doing all of this stuff? How are you gonna stop the crime if you can't put a limit on what they can do? 16, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old carry
Yeah.
a gun?
So if they're,
They climbing, doing whatever, and you can't go over there and ask them questions, where's the gun? You know they probably got a gun. If they got a gun, you can't seize their gun?
if they're under 18, you can, because you can't have a gun under 18.
You can't. Are you looking at the paper? Are you seeing all these people getting killed every day?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, what the police gonna be? The police got to be afraid now themselves. I don't be a police go somewhere else, a kid. I know how old he is. But I mean, if he was doing, say like a traffic stop. All right, stop a bunch of youngsters, okay. They run a stop sign. Half of them got guns laying right all over, right there.
That's your probable cause right there. That gives you, right there, that gives them the authority to go ahead and search.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You see it. I mean, is that probable cause where they seize the gun?
If they're not supposed to have it, yes.
Now, in your area, when you see something wrong, you can't call the police department, and you can tell them don't use your name. Now, you can do that. You can call the police department when you see something wrong in your area.
Guns being scattered all over everywhere.
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is that boy started. It started with the citizens. When you see something wrong in your area, you can't call the police and tell the police, do not use my name. And if you tell them that, they don't supposed to use your name.
I know what you're saying. Now, listen, I'm like one more question. Listen to this. All these people we see getting shot, all in here, still had a shooting in here the other day. About a week ago, I don't know, at the park. Somewhere, I don't know. I don't hear nothing done to come lately. But what I'm saying, when you get to those designations where all this going on, If you catch the person with the gun who did the crime, why let him keep the gun? He's gonna do it again. That's not proper procedure, that's not proper search and seizure there. You see he did the shooting?
I don't know, I try to stay away, I be scared.
Oh, the police come to that, he can't take that gun?
Yes, he can take the gun.
That's what I wanna see. If the police search and seizure, do things like that, take these guns, that's the only way you get them off the street.
They do it on a regular basis.
Take guns.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
Call their mamas on 'em, call their grandmas on 'em.
All the run, you get them off the street, bro.
I'm scared of 'em.
Man, them people, man, I'm telling you, every time, man, they talking about taking guns, shooting. All over there on this street the other day, shooting, killing.
What street you on?
Over there by the washer rat. Over there on
Blackburn.
Blackburn?
Look at all that shooting over there.
Yeah, y'all about to get a washington over there in your area.
No, I don't know if they shut that down. I don't know how true it is. The boys supposed to do that. I think it's like shut that down. They're trying to build on somebody's property. They don't know who property is. I want some of these guns off the street. Last night I have to go out there and get them. You want to deputize me?
All right. Thank you. All right. Charles. Born in Fife. Charles?
Yeah, update on Martin Luther King Park. So yes, we have a design. I think we're very close to being able to show it to you. If you've got some time, I don't know what your schedule looks like this week, but I think Grants was just working on the colors, but I think we've got a design that works really well. I don't know if they've received pricing, but the ballpark pricing seemed to be within our budget. So I think it's just a matter of getting with you and seeing if it kind of checks all the boxes. And then if you want to involve the community in any kind of input session, we can do that.
Okay.
And get going.
All right. Flood study update. You received any information from
Yes, I spoke with Andre Monet with the firm that did the flood study. He indicated that they had submitted everything to FEMA. FEMA had responded with comments. I believe they were planning to send their responses to those comments this week. I think it's like in the coming days. He also indicated that the area that Councilman DiVittorio had asked about in West Hammond, they were able to include, they went back and looked at their data and found that there was, let's go ahead and throw that in there as well. So that's now with FEMA. This is, again, part of that process. There'll probably be at least another round or two of back and forth before we have FEMA's final decision. But they remain confident that we're going to see a pretty significant change in our flood insurance rate maps for Hammond.
Okay, good. Well, my next question, you said was in the budget dealing with the water rates and garbage. My next thing, I want to thank Andre for assisting me with an issue that's going on inside of my district with these rehab homes. So we're working on that. I did find out that neither one of the three have a permit or a license to be operating. My only concern with that is the other part that I have to go through to get it shut down. To me, that should have been enough, but Andre said we got to go another step, and I don't have a problem with that because I want to make sure everything is done right on my side because it wasn't done right on their side, where it won't be no backlash on that side. But I will say this: once we get this issue resolved, I want them out. My last comment for tonight, I want to congratulate Carly on her award that she will be receiving in June. Congratulations to you on that. With that being said, got to get a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.